My dear Stoics, right now, there's someone tracking your steps, weighing your decisions, waiting for a misstep. But it's not who you think, it's you. You've become your harshest observer, continually acting for a crowd that isn't even real, chasing approval from people who forgot your face before you even turned away. Here's the truth, few speak out loud. Modern life has become an endless stage act, and we keep performing without ever hearing the applause. We post, we respond, we explain ourselves to digital strangers who wouldn't slow down to help if we collapsed on the street. In all that noise, we've lost the one thing that ever really mattered: ourselves. The ancient Stoics had a concept for this, prohairesis, a disciplined focus on the moment and deep care for the inner self. But here's the twist: they didn't preach it loudly. They practiced it in stillness. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the Roman world, could have demanded the world's attention, but he didn't. He chose to write down his private reflections in a journal no one was meant to read. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, embraced voluntary simplicity and deliberate quiet. And Epictetus, who rose from slavery to wisdom, built his philosophy on a single truth: master what's in your control. Release everything else. These weren't outcasts. They were leaders who had the world's ear. And yet they understood something we've forgotten: real power grows in silence. Today, I'll walk you through 7 ancient principles that will pull your attention inward and sharpen your focus until the opinions of others fade into background hum. This isn't social withdrawal. This is inner stability. And once you integrate these rules, you won't just change how others see you, you'll meet a version of yourself you've never known. But here's the challenge. Most people will watch this, nod in agreement, maybe even scribble notes, and then go back to begging for attention online. What separates them from you? You act. So if you're ready to go all in, prove it. Click like, not for me, but as a promise to yourself. A contract that says, I'm done performing, I'm building. And if you feel this in your bones, if you're exhausted from living for everyone except you, drop this in the comments. I choose silence over noise. Each rule is part of a sequence. Miss one and the chain breaks. Skip ahead and you'll lose the core. These are not random tactics. They're building blocks of what the Stoics called the discipline of desire, a step-by-step path to mastering yourself. Rule number 1, silence the static. Every morning, just minutes after waking, you make a critical decision. It determines whether you command the day or let the day command you. But you don't even realize you're making it. You roll over, you grab your phone, you start scrolling. Suddenly, you're absorbing someone else's tension, someone else's success, someone else's meltdown, and all of it becomes yours. Before your first sip of coffee, your mental clarity is already gone. What just happened? You fed the beast. That beast is the relentless buzz of opinions, expectations, and emotional noise. It thrives on your attention, feeds off your reaction, and grows louder the more you engage with it. It's very likely in charge of your life right now. You read about someone's promotion and start questioning your pace. One critical comment hijacks your mood for hours. You scroll through headlines and internalize every crisis like it's your personal mission to carry the world's pain. But here's what Epictetus grasped over 2,000 years ago, something we've completely lost. Wealth doesn't come from owning much, but from needing little. He wasn't just talking about money, he was speaking about mental wealth, the ability to curate what occupies your attention. The Stoics guarded their thoughts like priceless treasures because they knew your thoughts shape your world. Now it's your turn to do the same. Here's your 3-step method to silence the static. 1. The sacred hour. Starting now, the first hour after you wake up is yours. No screen, no news, no other people's stress. Just your breath, your intention, your awareness. This isn't luxury. It's survival. 2. The drain filter. When someone throws their opinion at you unsolicited, imagine it like water pouring through a sieve. Let it pass. Smile, acknowledge, move on. You're under no obligation to absorb every projection tossed your way. 3. Explain nothing. Stop justifying your decisions to people who don't pay your bills or share your pillow. Your path belongs to you. Own it. The moment you quit defending your life, you start living it. When you remove the noise, something rare happens. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You begin to remember what you want, not what the world told you to want. You find your voice more compelling than the latest drama. You stop being tossed around by the moods of others. You return to center, not because you're cold, but because you've become grounded. Right now, pinpoint one consistent source of static in your life. That one app flooding you with anxiety. That voice that always critiques your direction. That account that triggers self-doubt. Cut it off today. Starve it of your attention. And notice what fills the space. Focus, clarity, growth. Rule number 2. Move like nobody's watching. Look around and you'll notice something strange. People don't move freely anymore. Their shoulders are stiff, their words calculated, and their energy hesitant. They're not tired. They're being watched. Or at least they think they are. We've built our lives like public profiles, constantly curated for an invisible audience we'll never meet. Every choice feels judged, every move evaluated, every word spoken under a microscope. It's no wonder so many feel paralyzed by anxiety. But here's the real danger. When you live like you're being observed, you start acting like someone else. You walk with borrowed confidence. You dream with borrowed fear. You lose your own rhythm. And over time, the mask you wear becomes the face you forget to remove. The Stoics saw this coming centuries ago. Seneca wrote, "Show me a man who is content to be seen as he is." He didn't mean sloppy. He meant honest, grounded, clear, not seeking to impress, but committed to becoming. There's a quiet power in that. It doesn't shout. It simply moves. Now ask yourself, would you still chase the same goals if no one could ever see you succeed? Would you still post that quote, buy that car, make that move, if it earned no applause? Because if the answer is no, your life isn't yours. It belongs to strangers. Let's fix that. 1. Drop the performance. Every time you hesitate to act because of how it might look, you chip away at your potential. Stop performing. Start showing up for yourself. Speak when it matters. Move without narration. 2. Focus on the process. Don't obsess over how you're perceived. Obsess over how you're progressing. You're not a brand. You're a human being. Get better, not just flashier. 3. Build in the shadows. The Stoics built their character in silence. You should too. Not every move needs a witness. Sometimes the most powerful transformation happens behind closed doors, when no one's clapping. When you stop living for the crowd, you discover what real freedom feels like. Your movements become fluid, your words gain weight, your presence deepens. People feel it, but they won't know why. That's the point. Real strength doesn't perform. It simply is. So from today forward, walk like no one's watching. Speak like your voice is enough. Act like your life is yours to live, not to broadcast. Drop the lens. Reclaim the moment. Rule number 3, keep your energy expensive. Here's a truth that should shift your entire perspective. Your energy is wealth, and the way you spend it determines the quality of your life. Each morning, you wake up with a finite supply, mentally, emotionally, physically. Think of it as having a stack of invisible currency in your pocket. The problem? You've been handing it out like free samples to people who drain you, to arguments that go nowhere, to headlines that make you feel powerless, to scrolling habits that shrink your confidence. Now ask yourself, what's left for what actually matters? The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius ruled over one of the largest empires in history. He could have been involved in every problem across every province. Instead, he wrote this: "Be content to manage the present." Why? Because your energy fractured across timelines. What happened, what might happen, what others think, is energy wasted. The Stoics didn't just manage thoughts, they guarded attention. They spent energy wisely. So must you. 1. Cut cheap commitments. Start with this. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something meaningful. Stop volunteering your peace for places you don't belong. Stop being guilt-trapped into conversations that go nowhere. 2. Protect the core. You can't be everywhere. You can't help everyone. You are not infinite. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you focused. When you protect your energy, you give the best of yourself, not what's left of yourself. 3. Say no like a leader, not the timid number, not the sugar-coated maybe. A clean number, clear, respectful, final. No justification, no emotional debt. No, I'm not available for that. No, that's not aligned with my priorities. No, thank you. Every clean no carves out more room for your highest work, your deepest peace, your clearest voice. We've been conditioned to believe that generosity means saying yes to everyone. But that's not generosity, that's self-abandonment. True generosity is being full enough to give, and you only get full by guarding your energy like gold. So here's your exercise. Run your schedule through the value filter. Does this move my life forward? Run your habits through the energy test. Do I feel stronger or weaker after doing this? Run your relationships through the return question. Is this reciprocal? Or am I bleeding for someone who wouldn't blink if I disappeared? When you treat your energy like a premium asset, people start treating it that way too. When you're not always available, your presence becomes more powerful. When you speak less often, your words carry weight. Right now, call it out. What's one area where your energy is leaking? That draining friendship, that endless doom scroll, that habit of jumping into every conversation that doesn't involve you. Name it. Cut it. Because what you don't cut will cut you. And if you're serious about elevating every area of your life, drop this in the comments. My energy is premium. I invest it with intention. Rule number 4, kill the echo chamber. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you're surrounded by mirrors. And those mirrors only reflect what you already believe, already feel, already fear. This is your echo chamber, and it's one of the most dangerous places to live. Why? Because it feels safe. The people you talk to agree with you. The content you consume reinforces your views. The habits you've built keep you in familiar cycles. But familiarity isn't growth. Comfort isn't wisdom. And confirmation isn't clarity. This is how smart people stay stuck, by surrounding themselves with validation instead of challenge. The philosopher Socrates built his entire legacy on one brutal truth. The only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. That humility, the courage to admit there's more to learn, is what made him the wisest man in Athens. Your echo chamber robs you of that. It makes you feel right while quietly keeping you wrong. It keeps you spinning in the same thoughts, the same routines, the same safe corner of a very small world. Here's how to destroy it. 1. Audit your circle. If everyone around you agrees with everything you say, you're not in a circle, you're in a comfort trap. Find people who challenge your thinking without disrespecting it. Growth demands contrast. 2. Change your inputs. Your feed is not neutral. Your algorithm isn't your ally. If all you see online reinforces your current mindset, it's time to recalibrate. Read books by people who think differently. Watch thinkers who make you uncomfortable, not to agree, to expand. 3. Question everything. Just because it's how you've always done it doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's worked before doesn't mean it's still working. Ask, is this still serving me? Am I thinking this or just repeating it? Did I choose this belief or inherit it? The Stoics didn't just tolerate challenge, they sought it. They welcomed hard truths. They invited criticism, not because they liked conflict, but because they refused to live small lives wrapped in soft lies. Killing the echo chamber doesn't mean arguing with everyone. It means choosing wisdom over ego. It means valuing truth over validation. It means loving your future self enough to disrupt your present self. Because here's what no one tells you. Staying comfortable is the fastest way to stay behind. So today, do this. Listen to one voice that sees the world differently. Have one real conversation with someone who challenges you. Question one long-held belief, not to abandon it, but to own it fully. The person who can hold conflicting ideas in the same mind without emotional panic. That's a rare kind of power. And if you're ready to stop reinforcing your limits and start reshaping them, drop this in the comments. I outgrow comfort. I choose challenge. Rule number 5, watch, don't react. Picture this. Someone says something that rubs you the wrong way. Without thinking, your fingers start typing. Your heart rate spikes. You fire back. Later, maybe minutes, maybe hours, you regret it. You didn't respond. You reacted. Sound familiar? We've been trained to jump, mentally, emotionally, digitally. We react to headlines, to tweets, to moods, to delays, to glances, to tone. It's like we've outsourced our peace to everything around us. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what we desperately need to relearn. Between what happens and how you respond, there is a space, and in that space lies your freedom. Epictetus, who lived as both a slave and a philosopher, said it clearly. It's not events that disturb us, it's our interpretation of them. So the challenge isn't what happens, it's how fast we let it own us. Here's the shift. You're not required to respond to everything. You're not obligated to react immediately. You're allowed to pause. And that pause is where your power lives. 1. Create the gap. Your emotions aren't instructions. They're signals. Listen, but don't obey blindly. Breathe before you respond. Walk away before you reply. Ask yourself, is this about now or something deeper I haven't healed yet? 2. Detach from the hook. Every comment doesn't deserve your energy. Every provocation doesn't require your defense. Not every argument needs your attendance. Let people be wrong about you. Let the internet yell into the wind. 3. Observe yourself. Become your own scientist. When you feel anger rising, name it. I'm experiencing anger. That simple act creates space, and in that space you regain control. The people who seem unshakable aren't emotionless. They're aware. They still feel the sting, the jab, the chaos, but they choose not to be swept away by it. They don't suppress. They contain. They don't explode. They navigate. Think of your emotions like weather. Reactivity is getting caught in the storm. Observation is watching it pass while you remain grounded. Here's your practice. Before replying to criticism, pause. When triggered by someone's tone, watch instead of lash. When your buttons get pushed, ask, is this worth my energy or just old wiring? Over time, the space between stimulus and action widens, and in that space, you find a version of yourself that's clear, grounded, and wise. Because response is from your mind, reaction is from your wound. And if you're ready to stop being a puppet pulled by emotion, drop this in the comments. I watch before I respond. I protect my power. Rule number 6. Turn your back on clout. There's a new addiction that no one talks about. It's not chemical. It doesn't come in a bottle. It comes in the form of hearts, comments, views, and shares. It's called clout, and it's quietly stealing your ambition. Right now, millions of people are spending more time documenting their goals than actually achieving them. Entrepreneurs filming productivity clips instead of building businesses. Artists designing thumbnails instead of creating work that matters. Lifters posting about the gym more than lifting in the gym. The wild part, most don't even realize they've traded substance for attention. They've confused the appearance of progress with actual growth. Clout is a seductive fraud. It makes you feel productive without producing anything. It gives you the dopamine of recognition without the discipline of results. Seneca warned of this long before likes existed. It is a shame to grow weary of learning when we seek something excellent. He was calling us out, saying, don't fake excellence, build it. 1. Chase the craft, not the claps. Post less, produce more. Don't worry about looking like a beast. Become one. The most dangerous person in the room is the one building in silence. 2. Share after, not during. Don't narrate the process you haven't completed. Let your results announce you. Let your transformation speak when it's ready. 3. Choose legacy over likes. What are you building that will matter in 10 years? That won't be forgotten when the algorithm changes. Focus on that. When your worth is measured by online validation, you start tweaking your path to fit other people's expectations. You start creating for applause, not impact. You pursue goals that look good, not ones that feel true. And here's what's worse. Publicizing your goals too soon often kills your drive. Your brain confuses the praise for progress. You lose urgency. You lose hunger. Real growth doesn't beg for applause. The most powerful people you've never heard of are building empires quietly, offline, out of sight, without filters or updates. That's where the edge is. That's where the transformation happens. So ask yourself, if no one could see you succeed, would you still do the work? If you couldn't post your progress, would you still pursue the goal? If your transformation had to happen in total silence, would you still commit? If the answer is yes, you're ready to be unstoppable. And if you're ready to stop performing and start becoming, drop this in the comments. I build in silence. I grow in the dark. Rule number 7. Protect your comeback story. Here's something no one's telling you. While you're chasing likes, explaining your every move, and trying to prove yourself to people who barely know you, life is preparing you for something bigger. The storms you're weathering, the delays you didn't expect, the silent progress no one sees. They're all part of your comeback story. But here's the twist. A true comeback story can't unfold if you leak it piece by piece for approval. You can't shock the world with transformation if you're live streaming the scaffolding. You can't rise unexpectedly if your updates are louder than your progress. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote his most powerful insights in a personal notebook never meant to be shared. He wasn't crafting content, he was shaping his character. Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. He knew. Greatness is forged in solitude, not applause. 1. Train in the shadows. Your late nights studying, your quiet sacrifices, your early mornings building habits. They aren't for the feed, they're for you. You're not hiding, you're becoming. 2. Starve the audience. Every time you explain your process, you weaken it. Every time you share your goal too soon, you lose drive. Every time you seek praise mid-transformation, you slow the metamorphosis. 3rd, build first, reveal later. When you protect your progress, you preserve your power. When you stay silent, you keep your fire internal, not for show, but for fuel. Think of the people you admire most, the ones who truly changed. I bet they didn't post every decision. I bet they worked when no one was watching. I bet their transformation surprised you, because that's how real growth works. It doesn't announce itself until it's undeniable. So here's the practice. Resist the urge to explain your vision to people who aren't qualified to understand it. Keep your breakthroughs sacred. Document your transformation privately, not for the algorithm, but for your legacy. The world is noisy. Let your results be the thunder that breaks through, and if you're ready to step out of the performance, to build in silence, to craft a story no one saw coming, drop this in the comments. I am writing my comeback story in silence, not for applause, not for eyes, but for you. The final truth, becoming unshakable. You've made it through the 7 rules. But this isn't the end. It's the doorway to something most people never reach. We've talked about silencing the noise, moving freely without an audience, guarding your energy, breaking the echo chamber, choosing response over reaction, abandoning clout for craft, protecting your quiet rebuild. But underneath them all is one foundational truth. In a chaotic, distracted, approval-hungry world, the most powerful thing you can do is turn inward and master yourself. Because once you do that, everything else changes. People respect your boundaries because you finally set them. They value your time because you stopped wasting it. They feel your gravity, not because you speak louder, but because you stand firmer. And most importantly, you respect yourself. You stop begging for permission. You stop explaining your path. You stop waiting for someone else to believe in your potential. You become your own source of clarity, discipline, and peace. This journey won't be quick, and it won't be easy, but it will be yours. And in a world full of noise, that alone makes you rare. So start now. Pick one rule. Just one. Implement it today. Not next week. Not when you're ready now. And if this message hit you in the soul, share it. Hit like. Comment with the rule that shook you the most. Subscribe if you're building something real, not just something visible. We're creating a movement here. A community of people who choose depth over display, focus over fame, peace over performance. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people unmoved by it. So go, start building quietly, powerfully, unshakably.